just rehearsing to talk to you guys about the renewable energy commercialization. So yeah, let's get started. So before we go into the deeds of commercialization of renewable energy, we first gonna see the current status of renewable energy globally. So if you see the headline figures over here, the global renewable generation capacity, which means the total energy that are produced by the renewables, ideally is 2,537 gigawatts. And then the growth itself, which this is a cumulative thing across years, and this is the growth of 2019, which is 7.4%, and the number is 176 gigawatts. If you see over here, the hydro is 47%, and followed by wind, solar, and others. So if you see over here, 90% is wind and solar share of new capacities. So when we see in this graph, even though the hydro is high compared to the solar's growth is higher, which is followed by wind and then hydro. So yeah, and then the share of the Asian is 54% of new capacity. You see over here, the global share is 44%, and the change is 95.5%, 95.5 gigawatt compared to the whole map. And then the share of the renewables in net capacity expansion of 2019 is 72%. So if you see over here, the renewables is slightly decreased, but the non-renewables is far lower, which makes the renewable share still increase in the renewable share of annual power capacity expansion. So now we're gonna get into the renewable energy commercialization. So to get to know something is to love something. So let's get to know renewable energy commercialization. So RE from now on means renewable energy. So commercialization is equals to market formation, meaning there's a market, people buy the stuff. So the definition is the creation of self-sustaining market, meaning it can sustain itself and thrive without subsidies, and it can play in the field with other technologies such as, of course, our smartphones. So the process of commercialization is it goes from ideas to inventions to innovation and widespread adaptation and dissemination of the product by users. Dissemination is the diffusion in an forced way. We do it rather than happening normally. So what's the difference between invention and innovation is that invention, there's this product, but innovation meaning it has a market. So when we see the recent trends show clearly the growth of renewable energy accelerating, but at the same time, the current growth rate is insufficient because to achieve the level of decarbonization needed in 2050, it's not gonna cut it out. Yep. Now that we saw what is the renewable energy commercialization, we're gonna see what's actually the biggie with renewable energy commercialization, meaning why it isn't being commercialized like how smartphones are being commercialized, you know? So there is a reason. So if you see, renewable energy commercialization cannot be automatic because of the existence of barriers. You can see here there's a lot of existence barriers like social barriers, economic barriers, technological barriers, and regulatory barriers. This research was done by Sitaraman and his colleagues, and it was on breaking the barriers in deployment of renewable energies. So he said that, well, there's 4 barriers, and he made 7 hypotheses with being the first hypothesis, social barriers affecting the implementation of renewable energy, social barriers affecting the economic barriers to impact the implementing of renewable energy and such. There was only one hypothesis that was rejected, meaning it didn't affect the implementation of renewable energy, which was H3, meaning economic barriers wasn't impacting the implementation of renewable energy. But then their conclusion was that the economic barriers were affecting the implementation of renewable energy in an indirect way rather than the other barriers. So yeah, I'm gonna just go through, scan it. So as for social barriers, the public awareness and information barriers, not in my backyard, meanings they support the renewable energy, but then they don't want it to happen at their home, and the loss of other alternative income, lack of experience, profession, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So the barriers, the existence of the barriers is making the renewable energy commercialization to be not automatic. So now we know renewable energy commercialization, what it is. We also know that there's the barrier is the one stopping for the implementation of renewable energy commercialization. But how we're gonna break the barriers is the question. So our question here is how to achieve the large-scale diffusion, meaning commercialization. So we're gonna categorize into three: developed, developing, and least developed country. Even in the previous research, Sitharaman and his colleagues did state that they needed further research regarding breaking the barriers, referring to these categories, meaning developed or developing countries. So, well, let's see what inside this has. As for developed country, their government is fairly stable in finance, and the renewable power already makes good business sense. If you see in German and all, they have a lot of renewable energy wind powers and all the stuff, and it is huge. So they need to focus on the research and developments, which means this goes under the tech barrier. As for developing countries, referring to Balachandra and Sudhakara Reddy's research, the limited success of diffusion through government-driven pathways leads them to business model approach. Why the government-driven pathway is less is because, well, you could say that the government is still developing and they are focusing on the economics. So, well, maybe that's the reason. And business model approach is the public-private partnership. So it is a social barrier, as in for least developed countries, there's a large financing gap exists, meaning the maintenance and operation is existing for power infrastructures, and it is little remaining to fund long-term investments. And what they need to do is mobilize of private investment and finance, and this also falls into the social barrier. So, fun fact time. The sub-Saharan African, meaning the least developed country, you see here the hydroelectric is the major over here compared to fossil fuels, making them one of the least greenhouse gases emitting countries in the world. Okay. So guys, we've come to the end of it to see the conclusion. But you guys, if you want more, this 10 minutes isn't enough. I will do, if I've got time, and if I put it in YouTube or something like that, I'll let you guys know. So, for the conclusion, we're going to take what Balachandra and Sudhakara told in their paper, with the kind of hurdles by CTs, meaning sustainable energy technologies, including renewable energy. So, with the kind of hurdles by CTs of the path of commercialization, there cannot be a straightforward approach to facilitate the large-scale diffusion of these technologies. So it must involve multiple stakeholders like investors, private financiers, the customers and stuff like that, people like that. And of course, this renewable energy commercialization is pathways to sustainable energy, where renewable energy is just part of it. And you want to see here, renewable energy is over here, and this is the whole system of energy transition to a more sustainable